Hey besties, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. As you can see by the title, we're going to be doing a little bit of a book haul. I have been in my book buying era, so I have 18 books I want to share with you that I've bought since, I want to say December, so you do the math on how many books I bought. Also, a lot of them are special editions, and I will not be disclosing how much I spent on some of them. You can see a little bit of a sneak peek right now because I did not put them out of frame, but that's fine. Let's dive into this haul, which is essentially just a display of consumerism and an ode to capitalism. So the first book that I want to share is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. I read this a long time ago. I want to say I read this in like 2020 when everyone was talking about it, when the buzz was really going. And then last year I did a book shopping vlog where I went book shopping with my boyfriend, and I was looking for this book at Half Price Books and a couple other bookstores and I couldn't find it, and I've just really been wanting a copy of it. So my boyfriend, being the good boyfriend he is, wrote this down in his little noggin. And so this year for my birthday, he was thinking about a book he could get me. We also went on a trip that he surprised me with, but then he was like, I still want to get her a little thing for her actual birthday. And so on the day of my birthday, I feel like I just said the word birthday like 10 times in a row. Anyway, on that day, he surprised me with this, and he was like, I remember you mentioned wanting this a long time ago, so I wrote it down, and it just came time for me to get it for you as a gift. And it was so cute. I actually cried when he gave it to me because I love thoughtful gifts. Thoughtful gifts really warm my heart. They make me feel so good inside. Just the thought that someone was like thinking about you and remembering something about you is so special. And so I'm so glad that he got this for me. I really like this book. I think I gave it like 4 stars when I read it. For those of you who don't know, this book is about a guy who is a government agent that essentially goes around and audits orphanages that house like magical children. And so at the start of this book, he gets assigned to this case where he has to go to this island to go to where all the dangerous kids are kept, where they all have like these crazy superpowers. And so he goes here and he soon realizes that he has been missing something in his heart, in his life, because he's always taken his job really seriously and he's not really like slowed down and like smelled the flowers and just like enjoyed his life. And so there is a gay romance in this as well that's really sweet, and all the children in this are so cute. So I definitely should reread this soon. I feel like if I reread it, there's potential that I would rate it higher, but anyway, regardless, 4 stars is a good rating and I really liked this when I read it. The next 6 books I got are actually technically a gift for my sister, but I'm going to read them first before I send them to her, and that is the manga series Nosatsu Junkie. This is a manga series that I used to read in high school, and after I graduated, my sister just inherited my whole manga collection. We used to kind of share mangas, and so I never took them with me, and I don't really read manga that often anymore, but this was a series that I only had the first 2 volumes of, and my sister told me recently when she came to visit me that she's been searching high and low for the rest of the series because they're out of print. And I saw this on eBay, and so I wanted her to get it, but she mentioned that she just couldn't get it right now because of finances. So I decided to get them for her as a gift, but I sent them to my house because I actually do want to read them, and then I will mail them to her when I'm done. And so I just wanted to include it in the book haul, but this is actually technically a gift for her. I also just realized as I've been holding up this stack, showing it to you, it is the back of the 6th volume. So let's go ahead and turn these around. They're all switched up which way. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, this is the first manga in the series, and from what I remember, this is about a girl who wants to be a supermodel, but every time she auditions she tenses up, and when she smiles she ends up looking really scary, so she's never able to book any jobs. And she comes across this other model who is very well known, very popular, and she discovers a secret about her that allows her to blackmail her into training her into becoming the best model ever. That's what I vaguely remember about it. I also flipped open to find the scene. Like, this is an example of like her trying to smile in an audition, and she's like looking kind of scary, and then all the people who are judging her are just like not wanting to book her. The next book that I had to get a copy of is Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. I read this recently in a vlog that I did where I read booktubers' favorite books of last year. This has been all over booktube. People have been loving this so much. This is a literary fiction horror about these 2 wives who have to be separated because one of them is sort of like a marine biologist that goes on these like submarine trips. So she goes off on an expedition that keeps her under the sea for like 6 months, I think, and then the other wife is just waiting, wondering what happened to her. So we have 2 timelines happening in this. We have the wife who's actually under the sea having things happen to her, and we're slowly but surely finding out what went on while she was gone for 6 months. And then we also have the wife who is above the sea. I probably should know their names. I feel like that would make me explaining this plot a lot better. Okay, the wife above the sea is Miri, and the wife that goes down below on the mission is Leah. So we've got Leah, she's in the submarine, spooky ooky things are happening. And then we have Miri, who has been waiting for Leah to come back. And so the other timeline is when Leah is actually back from the expedition, and everything is just wrong. Like, things are just like not what they should be. Like Leah is changed. She's taking baths all the time. She's not really speaking. Her personality is really different. And so this is really just a story about grief through the lens of it being horror. And so while Leah's in the submarine, we obviously have some eeriness going on. But then in Mary's point of view, we are just experiencing her grief and how she feels about the fact that her wife is no longer the person that she married, and she's trying to come to terms with that. And it's just such a beautiful book. It's so interesting. I definitely would say it's very heavy on the lit fic and not so much on the horror. Like horror is just sort of the angle that Julia Armfield chose to give you this story, but really it is just a very touching story about grief, and the writing is phenomenal. It's so good. It's genuinely one of the best written books that I've ever read. I loved it so much. So I was like, I have to have a copy, and I also had to have this British cover because this cover is fantastic. The American cover is like this random orange one that looks very run-of-the-mill, very plain, very blah. This is giving the energy that this book is when you're reading. So the next book that I hauled is Stone Maidens by Lloyd Devereaux Richards. I bought this because I saw a TikTok where this girl was talking about how her dad wrote this book for 15 years and he finally published it. He self-published it, and he hadn't been able to sell any copies, and he is now in his 70s, and it's like his life's dream to be an author. And so she posted about it on TikTok to try to blow it up, and it was just such a cute series of videos that I saw where she showed how happy he was now that her TikTok had blown up and she was selling all of his books, and it just seems so sweet. I honestly don't even know what this is about, but it was $12 on Amazon, and I wanted to support that random old man because he seemed so precious and so kind. So we will actually read the back together because I genuinely have no idea what this is about. I know that it's a thriller, but that's about it. A serial killer is strangling young women and dumping their lifeless bodies in the steep forested ravines of southern Indiana. With each corpse he leaves a calling card, a stone figurine wedged deep inside the victim's throat. The police have never seen anything like it, but FBI forensic anthropologist Christine Prusik has. Years ago, she was a naive young researcher doing fieldwork in Papua New Guinea when she was attacked by tribesmen who placed carved stones inside the bodies of the dead. Prusik barely escaped with her life, and a nasty scar from the wound intended to house her own death charm. Is it a grisly coincidence, or is someone sending her a message? We'll see if it's good. If not, I paid $12 to support a random old man, and that's fine. Okay, the next two books I bought are duology, Born Darkly and Born Madly. Born Darkly is a book that I actually read for my most recent vlog. I tried my hand at reading dark romance. I did not like the other two books that I read, but I absolutely loved this. And so this was actually a slay. The other two gave me nightmares. I will link that video down below if you want to see it. But very, very frightening things that happened. So for those of you who don't know, dark romance is a subgenre of romance that is dark. It's literally how it sounds. These books tend to deal with topics that you wouldn't normally see in like lovey-dovey romance books. They're a lot more sinister, if you will. And so Born Darkly is about this woman named London, who is a renowned psychologist who is known for working with serial killers. So in her job, she treats serial killers, and a lot of times she will testify on their behalf, like when they're on trial, about whether or not they are insane or if they're a sociopath or whatever. So she's actually been known for shortening some people's terms when it comes to the punishments that they get. And so people have a very mixed view on her. And so at the very start of this book, she gets assigned a case of this serial killer named Grayson, who is known as the Angel of Maine. He is very much a Dexter type killer where he seeks out other criminals and murders them in very grotesque and fantastical ways. I would describe this series as Harley Quinn and the Joker meets Dexter meets Saw, because the contraptions that he sets up to kill these people are very intense. It's very like Jigsaw, where, you know, he makes them like find keys and he like pulls out their livers by like chains and whatever. I am making it up. I don't know if that actually happens in the book, but it is like weird things like you would see in Saw. As London starts treating him, she finds out that Grayson has an agenda of his own, and they slowly but surely start to fall in love. I would describe this as a descent into madness. Like London at first is trying to be very professional. She's trying to keep her distance from Grayson and just do her job. And then slowly he starts to just like loosen her up, and then she starts to see his way of things. And I won't say much more than that, but I definitely feel like Harley Quinn and the Joker is a great description of their relationship, because it just kind of goes off the rails a bit. But I really loved this. I loved the writing in it. I felt like it was really good. And although it is dark and a lot of very dark things happen, I will give a trigger warning for that. There are a couple of like things like kidnapping touching, and nothing's like sexual assault, but it is a little bit like questionable at times. But I feel like it was done really well, and if you can handle those sorts of topics, then you might like this. I really like books about serial killers, so I found it to be really interesting. And then Born Darkly is the sequel, obviously, to this, and this obviously takes place after this. I don't know why I'm explaining what a sequel is. Regardless, I did not love Born Darkly quite as much. I gave this one 5 stars, then I gave this one 4. It was still really good, but I felt like it kind of went off the beaten path, like not in a good way. Like this went off the rails in like a very fun, exciting way, like off the rails, like oh my god, crazy, wild, having a good time. This went off the beaten path in a way where I was like not as interested in what was happening, but I still really liked it. The writing was still really good, and the smut in these is really good, and the relationship between London and Grayson is just like chef's kiss. I really enjoyed this. So if you want to read these, you can actually get them on Kindle Unlimited. I just wanted to buy copies to have on my shelves. I will say I don't love these covers. They're not doing much for me, but that's fine because it'll be like this on my shelf and we can just admire the Trisha Wolfe books. We are entering the part of the video where everything after this is a special edition. Again, do not ask me how much I spent on all these special editions because I will not tell you. The first of these special editions is a book that is actually a part of a series that is ongoing. It is tradition for me to buy these books in the special edition style, and that is The Last Hours, book 3, Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare. I have been buying all of her newer series in this Waterstone like special edition copies like forever, for years. I feel like since like 2017 or 2018 when The Dark Artifices came out. I just love how shiny and beautiful these always are. I am a huge fan of these Waterstones editions. I will say I do want to sue Waterstones for putting a sticker on the front because like, why would you do that? Especially because this gold can probably like rub off if you put too much on it. I will take the sticker off eventually, but I just needed to complain about it and talk about my lawsuit to Waterstones for that. Like I said, this is book 3 of The Last Hours, which is a sort of like prequel series in the Shadowhunters world. I feel like we are so far gone into Shadowhunters at this point that I can't really explain to you what this is about, but if you've read The Infernal Devices, this is about the children of the characters from The Infernal Devices. I also believe if you haven't been living under a rock for the last decade, you probably know what Shadowhunters are and who Cassandra Clare is, even if you're not a fan of the series. But a quick synopsis is that Shadowhunters are these angelic demon hunters that have angel blood in them, and they draw runes on their body, which are basically like tattoos that give them powers to be able to fight demons. I also might need to reread the first 2 books in The Last Hours in order to really remember what's going on here. I don't really read YA anymore. Cassandra Clare is one of the exceptions for me, and so I haven't really revisited any Shadowhunter books in a long time, but I am excited to have this copy. Like I said, it's tradition for me to pre-order this every time she's coming out with a new book, and so yeah, I love it. Say what you want about Miss Cassie Clare, but I am a stan. I've actually met her in person before and she's very nice. Okay, besties, before I show you the next 3 special editions I have, I'm gonna need you to promise to not call the police or call my therapist. I am an adult with adult money and sometimes I do crazy things. So did I buy 3 copies of Book a Night when I already had a Book of the Month copy of it? I did indeed. So now do I own 4 copies of Book of Night? That is a thing that is going on. Okay, besties, the first copy looks like this. It's very cute. We have some gold reflecting, very iconic, very good. I love like all these details like around the edges, and it's just shiny. It's cute. It is reminiscent of the original cover, but it's a little bit different. Underneath, it is so beautiful, like gorgeous, celestial, iconic. I love the way the font looks here. And then we have this quote on the back that says, "There'd always been something wrong with Charlie Hall. Crooked from the day she was born. Never met a bad decision she wasn't willing to double down on. Had fingers made for picking pockets, a tongue for lying, and a shriveled cherry pit for a heart." And then we also have some beautiful end pages with the characters. This is Charlie. She is a curvy, beautiful goddess. And then we have Vince, who is our male love interest of the story. For those of you who don't know, Book of Night is about a girl named Charlie who is really renowned for being a famous thief, and she used to get into a lot of trouble. She used to steal a lot, and this is an urban fantasy series where shadows are magic, like people deal in shadows like currency. And so there are these people called gloamists who are able to manipulate their shadows, like detach their shadows, do all these different things with them. And so Charlie used to steal from people like that, and now she's on the up and up and she's trying not to be a criminal anymore. And so she falls into like this web of deceit and different things going on when she has to find the Book of Night, and it's a whole thing. A lot of people actually really did not like this book, even though it was Holly Black. They just like were not a fan, and so everyone I saw on BookTube hated this. I actually read this for my vlog where I was reading BookTube's most hated books of last year, and it was such a surprise to me that I gave this 5 stars. As you can tell, I'm about to show you 2 more special editions I bought. I will say the bright side of loving a book that everyone else hates is that all of the special editions are on sale for like 20 bucks. I know I said I wasn't going to tell you how much these cost, but these were actually really affordable. I got all 3 of these on Manga books for like 60 bucks for all 3 special editions. And as many of you know, if a Fairy Loot or like a Lumicrate book goes out of stock, people resell them for like hundreds of dollars. And because Book of Night wasn't so well received, I got them for a steal. So I love that for myself. And before you get in the comments saying you don't like Book of Night, I don't care. I'm gonna speak my truth. I'm gonna shout it from the rooftops. I think that Miss Holly Black wrote this for me. I don't care what anyone else thinks. I love this book with my whole heart. I obviously bought 3 copies of it when I already had one. And so that's saying a lot. The next edition we have is the Waterstones exclusive edition, which I got solely for the sprayed edges. I love the stars and the moons. This is just so cute. I love it so much. I don't think it's very special underneath. Yeah, it's like plain black underneath. So it's nothing special on the inside. I literally just got it for the end pages because I have a vision on my bookshelf of storing it like this so you can like see the outside of it. But it's so cute. I love it. And like I said, it was really cheap on Manga Books. So yeah, this is copy number 2. But this last Illumicrate edition, as you can see, looks very different than the other ones because they decided to go with like white and keeping it bright. But honestly, the reason that I bought this is not even because of the white. It's because of, number 1, really beautiful end pages. They look so gorgeous. And then what it looks like underneath. It says Liber Noctem under there, and then it has a quote. As Charlie Hall at her best when doing her worst. Whenever she tried to create something, it broke apart in her hands. But blowing something up, there Charlie had an unerring instinct for greatness. Ugh, I love it. It's so cute. And it has sprayed black edges, which is always a slay. We love to see it. This is just so gorgeous. I am obsessed. And I'm so glad that I could get all these copies for a very affordable price, because who doesn't love a bargain on a book that you love? The final 3 books that I'm going to share with you will be no surprise to anyone, because there has not been a single book haul in the last year of my channel that hasn't had a Jane Austen book in it. If you haven't been with me that long on my channel, you have to know that I am a Jane Austen girly through and through. Persuasion is by far my favorite of all of her books. I did a vlog last year where I read and ranked all of them, and it was just sort of an iconic moment. I love them. I really fell in love with Jane Austen. I already liked like the movies and adaptations and stuff, but I just wanted to sort of be in a classics era last year. So yeah, I'll link that vlog down below if you want to see it. But the first book that I got is this illustrated version of Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice is probably like my 2nd or 3rd favorite book. I can't really remember the order that I put them in. All I know is that Persuasion has my heart, but I definitely do love Pride and Prejudice, and this edition is so beautiful. A subscriber actually messaged me on Instagram to tell me that they were selling this, and so I immediately bought it. It was such a funny interaction. Shout out to you, girl. The end papers, iconic, stunning. Like, look at this artwork. Apparently the artist Bill Donovan who did this is an artist for Christian Dior. Stunning, absolutely stunning. Can you believe this? Like, can you get over that? Like, this is so beautiful. I actually bought this from Target, and I actually don't think it was that expensive. I think it was like $25. I literally said I was not going to tell you the price of any of these books, and I'm telling you the price of all of them. I guess they all weren't that expensive. I think that the Waterstones Cassandra Clare one was probably the most expensive, and a number that you probably wouldn't want to pay for one single book. But the rest of these, I guess they were affordable, but whatever, it's fine. Just so gorgeous, so beautiful. Look at the little peacock, so cute. Another thing that I love is that the outside is like kind of like fabric. So it's like very silky, and it's just iconic. I love it so much. I definitely would recommend it if you love Pride and Prejudice. I would also say that this is a special edition that actually has like a good readable quality to it. Like, the spine is very strong, and so I could actually see myself physically reading this, because something that I've learned now being a special edition collector is that some special editions are only for your eyeballs. They are not for actually reading, but this one really is sturdy, and I feel like you could actually read it. So I highly recommend it if you are a big fan of Pride and Prejudice, because obviously this is the crowd favorite. This is typically everyone else's favorite Jane Austen, so would definitely recommend it. The next one you're gonna see and you're gonna say, Sarah, do you not already own a bind up of all of Jane Austen's novels like on your shelf over there? And to that I'll say, yeah, I do, but I saw this on Manga books and I felt like I needed to have it. I really felt like I did because it's so gorgeous, so beautiful. This is a collection of all 7 of her novels and it's just floral, beautiful. I love the gold. We have gold sprayed edges, obviously, and this one's hefty. And it does have Bible pages, like just the thinnest ass pages you'll ever see in your life. I don't think I would ever physically read from this one. It also feels like the spine is a little bit wonky, but as far as like being displayed on a shelf, gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous. So I had to have it. And I will say, because I got it from Manga Books, I think I got it for like $12. I was literally a liar when I said I wasn't going to tell you the price of all these books. I'm literally telling the price of every single one, but that's fine. But the end papers are also very beautiful. Like, we love to see it. And yeah, I don't know, it's just like a collection of all her books, and it literally sounds like a Bible when you go through the pages. It is actually activating my fight or flight with my religious trauma. So we'll put that away. The 18th and final book that I'm going to share with you is, you guessed it, Persuasion by Jane Austen. What is a book haul for me without a copy of Persuasion? So this is the Harper Muse edition that came out recently. I saw it on TikTok and I immediately ordered it. And it is so gorgeous. And the back of it has this little gold quote on it, and it says, when pain is over, the remembrance of it often becomes a pleasure. We have a little ship on the sea because Captain Wentworth like lives on the sea, and then we have everybody at the beach, the seaside, and it is just so beautiful. There's also some artwork in it that's like watercolor-esque, and the end pages are kind of pretty. It's gorgeous, and I absolutely love this little thing that came with it that says the title, because the title here, Persuasion, is so tiny. I have gone back and forth about whether or not I want to keep this on there because this is so pretty. I think I will, just because it feels like they go together, but it's just so pretty. So those were the 18 books that I've bought since December. Do I have a book buying problem? That is up for debate. I don't think I do. You might think I do. My bank account definitely does, but I actually am on a no buy situation right now, not just for books but in general. My bank account since Christmas has been literally crying, so I'm just like trying to take it easy. So there probably won't be another book haul from me for another few months. I feel like I only really do book hauls like a couple times a year, but yeah, so it could be worse. That's all I'm trying to say. So yeah, let me know down below if you have any of these books. Do you want to buy some of these books? Do you know of any Jane Austen special editions that I would like? Because I will buy them. If you've made it to the end of this video and you enjoyed it, feel free to use a sort of celestial emoji in your comments. It could be the sparkle, the stars, the moons, whatever you want, in honor of Book of Night, because I love it and it's okay if you don't. But thank you all so much for watching. You're all beautiful. Have a nice day.